guys doing? If my camera falls, I'm sorry, but and the lighting sucks in here. So let's talk a little bit about the astrology. How are you guys doing? So that eclipse, huh? I was talking about it a little bit on Instagram because they let me go live and they weren't mad at me. The eclipse energy and whoa, that fire. We have a grand trine still in effect, which is with Uranus, which is the Great Awakener. Change. Wow, stirring up some big changes in terms of like who we are. And then Saturn and Black Moon Lilith together. Saturn, which is like the father energy and the authority, and Black Moon Lilith, who is the ride or die bitch, which, shoot, I was trying not to swear on Facebook to not get kicked out of here again. But that conjunction between the two of those energies coming together of like our coming into our own authority and coming into our own sense of fuck the system. Let's just screw it. Let's just do something different, right? And so I am change. I am changing. I am changing quickly, and the system isn't really working, and we all know that. And so we're kind of coming into this new area around that. And then the North Node and Mars. North Node is like where our souls want to go. It's like pushing us forward, and it feels really, really, really uncomfortable usually. If you're super spiritual, if you're super tapped in, maybe not as much, but it's typically the most uncomfortable point in our chart where we feel the less comfortable because our soul's wanting to learn, right? Why we're here, our soul's wanting to learn how to deal with these energies and deal with this newness and kind of what our soul wants to experience in this lifetime. So definitely that's happening. And then we also have that conjunction with Mars. So we have where our soul wants to go, and then Mars is just like, go, go, go. So pushing us forward in a very courageous way, in a very Leo way, in a very heart-opened way. You know, a lot of people talk about Leo and ego, and sure, Leos like to shine, but they're actually not super egotistical. It's more of shining heart and also wanting others to shine. So definitely that trine is bringing up areas where we need to create more transformation and more growth. And so that's still happening. So we have that big eclipse, which really kind of brought to our senses where we're wanting to experience these changes, and just at a visceral level, at a real body level, getting this physical DNA upgrade, which many people are talking about. Many people are talking about like the post-eclipse kind of hangover feeling, and some people aren't experiencing that way. They're experiencing just like pure joy and bliss, but many more of us are experiencing moments of feeling okay and feeling like we can integrate, and then all of a sudden getting really tired, all of a sudden getting really nauseous, all of a sudden needing to lay down. So that's okay, and that's your body talking to you and telling you what it needs, and there's not anything you can take, or there's not any coffee you can drink that's going to make you push through that. It's really about listening to your body now. So this is a time period where you really need to listen to your body and really take it easy, even though right after the eclipse, Sun, Mercury was already in Virgo, but Sun and Moon moved into Virgo, and that can be just really wanting to get the details dealt with, wanting to clean your whole house, wanting to organize everything, but really the energy wasn't quite there. And so you can see everything and you can see maybe what needs to happen, but it's okay to not get it all done right now, right? I was talking about this, some of this is just going to be repeat if you watched my Instagram live, but basically now that the moon has now, since the moon moves so quickly, the moon has moved into Libra, which thankfully is finding a little bit more of that equilibrium and that balance from within, so that's great. I would say coming up, and then when the moon moves into Scorpio, we're definitely going to be like needing to rest more and doing some deep dreaming, deep, big transformative work. And that's, again, it moves really quickly, so it's only going to be for a few days. But when Mercury is retrograde in Virgo, it's a very strong retrograde. And so going through this big kind of awakening and opening through the eclipse, and then having that gift of having Mercury kind of slowing everything down, it's really the universe telling you, this time is meant for process. This time is meant to really slow yourself down and really get focused on your body and taking care of your body and your mind. The mind especially. Mindfulness, meditation, yoga, these things are all really, really, really vital at this time. So the Mercury retrograde will literally end right at the place where the eclipse happened. So that's not by accident. It's not like the eclipse happened and then that's over and we're moving on. It's like the eclipse happened, wow, and that just like kind of exploded everything up. And then it's the process and the figuring out how to integrate all of these changes into our system. And that takes a really long time, but it's definitely going to be helpful as Mercury goes direct. I think it's September 5th. When Mercury goes direct, definitely you will have a little bit, it'll still be intense. Like this isn't going anywhere, but you'll have more forward movement and you can start new things. It's really not recommended right now to start new things, says the person who's trying really hard to start something new and is struggling and not able to do it. So definitely I'm talking to myself, you don't need to start something new right now. You can just wrap up loose ends. You can, finish up the little things that you were working on during this time and really rest. So this is the time for it, and this is the time where we're going to be coming up into some pretty big energy. So I talked about that grand fire trine that's still happening. And we're in those last, the Saturn in Sagittarius will be shifting, I think it's in December, into Capricorn. And that is going to be, wow, really a good time to start really working on some things that need to be happening in terms of your work in the world. But for as long as Saturn is in Sagittarius, we're still meant to do some ideas. We're still meant to do some learning and some kind of teaching ourselves where this kind of work is going to manifest in the world. So it's okay to still be in the planning phases. It's okay to still be in the place where you don't have it all figured out, because probably we never will, but especially not for the next few months. Saturn just got out of a retrograde period, and that's perfect for doing this big understanding and reasoning of why things have felt heavy and where we've been resisting growth and where we've been resisting change. So this is just a time for change. It's not necessarily time to start something new, but it is a time where you'll notice things are dying, or things are over, or they're ending, or it's time to leave this thing, or it's time to leave this person, or it's time to close something down. And again, it's not necessarily a time to start new things, but it's kind of this transitionary time, as typical with a fall period when we come into more of those fall energies. But this one is huge. This one is just unique because it's so huge. The eclipse was so, I was so surprised at how I knew it was coming. I had all the astrology, right? And so I knew what was going to happen logically and intellectually and in my head. But when something like that happens, it is crazy how overwhelming it is to your senses. And I couldn't believe how overwhelming it was. And it was almost like I just wanted to cover my eyes, but I didn't. But it was just so overwhelming to the senses that now is the time where it's like, okay, that makes sense why I'm feeling nauseated. It makes sense why I'm tired, because I do have to kind of put all these pieces together of what did just happen? Wow, that was really big energy. And this has been predicted to be a really interesting time with the culture, with America in general, and with money systems. And Pluto's going to be at a Pluto return for the Constitution. I think it's the Constitution. Was that in 1776? Yeah. So that is going to be returning. And so it's a really pivotal point for our whole system and our whole culture. And so whatever's happening internally for you, it's not unique to you. I mean, yes, it is, but it's happening at a cultural level, and it's really important for us to stay present in our own personal process, because that helps raise the permission, raise the evolution of the culture. And so this is the biggest lesson. A lot of spiritual people are talking about, oh, this new earth is going to be born and we're going to all be happy, and then the people who aren't evolved are just going to stay behind. And it's like, no. It's like everything takes work, and the work is the part where we want to disconnect from the most, right? The work is the part where we're like, oh, it's just going to be easy, and if it's hard, we shouldn't do it. It's like, no, actually, that new earth that's born isn't just like a baby's not just born like, oh, magic, a baby's born. It's like, no, a mother works really hard. As you know, if you're a mother, you work really freaking hard. You are literally every day building bones in your body. And then at some point when that baby gets bigger than you could possibly imagine, then that's the day where you have to have these crazy intense contractions and breathe and stay present, and then you have to push those bones out of the most sacred part of your body. So just like that, and there's that great poem that woman, I would love to refine that woman talked about being in like a transitionary period in our culture, and that's totally where we're at. But again, it doesn't come effortlessly, and it's not that it has to be drudgery, it just has to be that we're doing our own personal work. And if we're doing that, then we're doing much better than if we're getting lost in the spiral of fear, lost in the spiral of we're just screwed, and so we should just, pack our bags and, move to I don't know where, or get on a jetpack and go up to Mars, because that's really not the answer. The answer is that we can all kind of make these changes, and that we do. It's amazing. My friend was also talking about these pyramids that were found in, I think it's Antarctica or somewhere, that we had never known that they were before. So all these things are happening. Everything is in motion. Everything is in motion, and with that becomes all possibilities. Nothing is static on this planet. Nothing is static. Nothing is static. So when people are like, oh, we're screwed and we're screwing the planet and we're all going to be doomed, that's just bullshit. So it's like everything is in movement and everything is moving, and so we can choose to move with that change, and we can choose to be helping propel that forward, or we can be in a place of resistance and holding and tension. So that's up to us, and it really comes from doing that deep internal work that's really not fun. So that's the time period that we're in. Yay! And as we're moving through Virgo season, Virgo in general, Virgo season is a lot about sorting and shifting and getting rid of what doesn't serve you anymore, and bringing in the things that do serve you and really feed your body, feed your mind, feed your soul. And so with that comes, it might be a time where you're just purging a lot of your belongings, you're purging a lot of your old papers and going through things like that. And it's a really great time to do that. But the thing about that is to not be hard on yourself if you don't want to do that today. And this has been coming up for me. I'll like do a little bit, and then I'm like, wow, I'm really tired now. I need to take a nap. And so I'll go take a nap. But, it's really important to just be slowly working towards goals. And I was saying on my Instagram live that, like, don't make a huge to-do list right now. It's not the time for that. It's like, what one thing do I want to try to accomplish today? And then if it doesn't happen, pat yourself on the back and be like, I tried to make that happen. So that's really the time period that we're in with Mercury retrograde, with a lot of issues happening with computers and electronics, and also with our mind. You might forget. I've been like forgetting how to spell things, or like, trying to write, and like, it's just not a time for me to write. And so it's a really important thing to just listen to that, and to listen to where the energies are taking you. And it's really taking you on integration and being really internal during this time. And so as that moon shifts into Scorpio in the next few days, just understand, like, it's gonna, like, today and the next day are gonna be like more like, okay, I think I'm okay. I think I'm coming off of this like kind of intense energy. And then with Scorpio, it's just gonna kind of like, it's gonna feel like it's pushing us back, but it's actually pushing us forward. We're gonna need like these breaks and integrations. And as we come into the moon moving into Scorpio, definitely it's a time to get magical with it. Like, light your candles, chill out, and just listen to what's coming up for you around transformation and where you want to see transformation. As we still have Mars and the North Node in Leo, that's very fiery, and it's also like kind of pushing us forward. And then as these energies are pushing us forward, it's really important to remember that we're still in a Mercury retrograde. So it's that push-pull and that tension that we're feeling, and it's really important to honor both of those and just be okay with kind of being confused right now. It's a very confusing time. I don't know if you're feeling that. If you guys have any questions about the energies, I would love to hear it. I will be doing another one of these on the full moon, because the full moon is not for a while, but it is going to be a big one, and it's going to be in Pisces. So it's that opposition of Virgo and Pisces. And so if you have a lot of Pisces energy, if you have a lot of Virgo energy, you're going to be feeling it more. And I definitely have clients right now that are coming in that's what they have, because that's why they're feeling called to do this work at this time. So if you haven't already signed up for my newsletter, do that, because I am doing a new thing. This is what I was working on. I'm like, I have to wait a few more weeks to do this, but I will be doing it in September, sending out just like a fall kind of guidance around the astrology, a workbook or worksheets. Probably not a book, but some worksheets to do. So definitely get on a newsletter if you haven't already. And I hope you guys are having a great day. I know that it's just big times that we're in, and you might feel really like you need a little bit more lemon water than usual. All right, have a great one.